Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us for another round. The match in this first round of the Azure Dreams Start Tournament for starting Tamers and rival tutors. I'm Lady Demi, and with me today will be Redman, who right now is in the process of getting our runners started and situated. We still need to check DamagedPlushie seed, but after that we should be able to count them down and get going. Because Azure Dreams is a very luck-based game, we generally start timer from after the introductory name selection and cutscene, which is why we end up putting our seed screen there for the de-randomizer. Since we don't normally pay much attention to this particular part, I thought we'd stop in and talk about it. For those of you just joining us, as this is a PlayStation 1 roguelike RPG, sort of in the vein of a mystery dungeon game. Our runners will have 1 hour to climb as far as they can, as fast as they can, across multiple entries into the randomized tower. Where I was just explaining the lovely rules. At the end of the hour, whoever got to the highest floor first, regardless of whether or not they're still on that floor or alive, will be the winner of the first of our best of 3.
Yep, and that pretty much covers it. This is pretty much straight vanilla. We have a little bit of quality of life things. Mostly just the skipping the intro story, and making the tutorial floor convenient since there's no risk there. The runners have been counted down. They should be moving any second now. And then we'll be off.
Now, DamagedPlushie made quite a splash in her first tournament, which was the previous random toolkit tournament, but I don't know if I've seen Troylus before, which is to be expected. This is the goal of this tournament. Is to get in relatively less experienced runners a much more even and newbie-friendly player ground than some of the more esoteric tournaments we do at other points in time, where you just get poulet sans-têted into the dirt over and over again. And off they go! Let's see, Okay, so they have both gone with fairly straightforward names, and while we don't have to nickname tunes, some people do. It looks like Troylus is intending to naming it, I'm guessing, after his tutor Wugga.
Yeah.
Let's hopefully bring the speed into this time.
So we're gonna see a nice line of all of our starter items: copper sword, wood shield, medicinal herb, fireball with 5 charges, and the classic palumpa egg right next to the elevator. And then we're gonna move on to floor 2, and pretty much we're probably going to scour through floor around 5 or so, collect as many items as we can, and try to go from there. Re-entry is allowed in this tournament, which is kind of the selling point of this game. Usually our tournaments don't allow re-entry. It's usually a once and done type of thing. But because we're aiming
very difficult.
Yeah, that's very volatile. It's very different, or very difficult, and
it's unreliable to the extreme. And if you're just getting started Azure Dreams, don't worry about doing it in a single run. This is a rough situation to start off with. Yeah. You cannot, at level 1, fight a flame directly on, much less a flame and another monster. Troylus is going to have to think of, they both are going to have to think of a way out of it. Looks like DamagedPlushie's solution is have Kyun use a spell. And Troylus's was to use AI1 and have Kyun take the attacks directly.
Yeah, Flame is kind of one of those deceptively tough monsters. It has 20 HP, it can hit even with that height advantage. They were still taking 4 to 5 damage, and it has the ability to cast Sled, which can hit pretty hard as well. And they're not even worth the most experience on the floor.
Yeah, that'd be the troll. Ooh, Scarlet Wand. We are off to a rousing start that is pretty much the best weapon for them at this point in time. It matches Kune's element, and so you get basically a same type attack bonus. And it's a wand, and that also adds a multiplier to damage done with mixture magic. And that's the way you want to go if you want to fight things in Azure Dreams.
Oh, there seems to be a little bit of a cropping issue on Plushie's side. Let me see if I can get that taken care of.
Might be a cropping issue, might be an issue with the font. Sometimes the layouts can be a little bit tricky. Tricky, and I know that because I magnify my screen somewhat, or something, my text ends up being a different size than other people's, even when it's the same size. And that's probably a thing for us to worry about rather than Plushie for the time being. Meaning no one wants to be thought about technical details while they're running.
Yeah, we tried something a little different with the state display window this time, and it seems that it doesn't quite like playing even with everybody this time, so we'll have to look into that. But for the time being, we've asked for that to be recropped a little bit, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
No. So I think the main thing that they're going to be wanting to look for, now that they have a binding ball, that's pretty nice. They have an Olean fruit that'll come in handy to destroy basically one enemy instantly, or to act as an emergency way out if they're really if they're really in a tough spot. They probably could not enact an Olean to escape, but if they really wanted to escape and had time. Okay. But what they're otherwise going to be looking for, I think, next priority is probably a decent shield. Either one with a better defense bonus than a wood, or leather, which offers them a dodge chance. And that'll be what they're hoping to see. But
early on, those high defense shields, the steel and diamond shields, even the iron to some extent is, I mean, anything that's better than wood, like you said. Even, maybe not so much like the mirror shield, because it's kind of in between the way that damage reduction works. But the higher defense shields are really nice early on, just because they straight up reduce the damage that's incoming, which isn't really a lot. Usually they're taking like 4 damage now. They can easily take that down to 2-ish, depending on what kind of shield they have, if it's not like elemental or something like that. But higher up, when you start taking 40, 50, 60 damage a piece, that leather shield...
2 or 3 damage that you would get from most shields doesn't matter, and that is when the leather shield really starts telling. We'll see if they get high enough this run for that to be a factor. It very well could be, and certainly the increased dodge chance is a nice thing for anyone to see. Yeah. Even if it's only 10% more often, avoiding 100% of damage from it is pretty nice. But with a Scarlet Wand, they should be good to fight most things for a while.
They should be pretty set, and especially if they end up crystalling out, keeping all those levels on Kune, that Scarlet Wand is going to come in real handy. They're just going to be able to breeze through all of these floors.
Mm-hmm. And with that in mind, Troylus does appear to have picked up a wind crystal. DamagedPlushie does not look like she has, either because she has taken the rooms in a different order, even across the same tower, or because she just doesn't want to invest in that.
I know Plushie is actually my my trainee, I guess. I am one of the tutors in this, and I know that she really doesn't like to use the crystal. She likes to try to get as far as she can in one climb, which, I mean, sometimes it can really pay off, and other times it's just gonna hurt her in the long run. If she can get a really decent climb here, then Troy's gonna have a run for his money. He's gonna have to. I mean, she's very capable of getting into the 20s and 30s fairly reliably if she has the right kind of setup.
Yeah.
But if
And
she, as we saw yesterday, sometimes the tower's just mean and you can't really get past like floor 13 or so. And if that's the case, she's really gonna be hurting against Troy here. Because I'm assuming he's planning on crystalling out and being able to keep some of his items, which are really going to help, like that Scarlet Wand. Eventually, they'll probably go water strats at some point, and having a stream wand for that would be really, really nice as well.
It seems likely. To be fair, it's hard to say if Troylus is planning. I'd have probably checked what that crystal was anyway. Could have been water, could have been fire, but it's not a huge loss given the inventory they've got going on. And a nice little elevator train puts them in a pretty good setup. It could also be that Troylus isn't planning on using that wind crystal, but if given the choice between dying and not dying, well, why not die?
Yeah, especially with re-entry being allowed. If you have a means to get out and no way of escaping the situation, there's no reason not to. So, I mean, unless you're on your, you only have a few minutes left and you're on your final climb, then, you might as well go down with the ship. But in general, that's the point of this. It's aimed at the newer runners, the less experienced runners, however you wanna look at it. So use that to your advantage. Leave as many times as you need to. Build up whatever you have. Find the items that you need. Get those levels on. Probably Cune, but you can find eggs, leave and hatch them, and come in with whatever you want. So there's a lot of different valid strategies depending on what the tower decides to throw at you.
In this case, though, we saw Troylus using some of those spare swords picked up earlier, throwing something at the tower.
Yeah, and I really like that. I really like especially because with the Scarlet one, they're never going to equip a sword. And instead of just tossing them away, if you're going to lose a turn anyway, you might as well throw them because they can do a lot of damage. Especially on some of these tankier things like the blooms. The U-boats, if you get a chance, are fantastic to throw things at. Even the blooms. And they're getting to, at least, well, Troy has a bit of a lead here. He's getting to the point where throwing the weapons is going to be pretty negligible. Things like the volcanoes and the griffins that he's eventually going to be running into really don't care too much. I mean, it's helpful, yeah, but I don't know, it's not as helpful as you would like versus, using them earlier, and because you still get the experience for throwing swords and different things like that at enemies, so there's really no reason not to.
Yeah, looks like Troylus had to take a moment and think about this. Being trapped with a U-boat is never anyone's favorite. Luckily, only means that you're never trapped with anything, really.
Oh, the slowdown on Cune. That's not good. I mean, he did just level up, so he didn't lose a lot of experience there, but it does suck to get hit with it regardless.
Cune, and particularly on Cune, because Cune levels are the only thing you can keep, and they gate a fairly significant strategy until Cune hits about somewhere between 9 and 12. Some players will start thinking about switching Cune's element to water to get more elemental advantage against more strong enemies, and to get more neutral elemental advantage against more strong enemies.
Yeah, as an in general thing, it's fire and water are the pretty strong and tanky monsters, and the wind monsters, while there are some that are pretty tanky and decently strong, they're generally more of a tricksy type of thing, where they'll do some kind of a status ailment or some other kind
Mess
of
you up.
yeah, some kind of a gimmick around them, where they're not necessarily dangerous in their own right, like Dreamins, which we'll see soon. But as soon as they are as soon as they have something else with them, they become pretty dangerous.
And of course, there is always the fact that all of the damaging spell balls you can locate are fire elemental, and so sometimes when you're running with a water monster, you can supplement their ability to damage with a fireball, and they have a couple of these here.
Yeah, and that binding ball is actually really, really nice too. It kind of tapers off towards the higher floors where things become unliftable, but that is essentially a get out of jail free card in a sense. Because most things like this.
Oh dear, this is not great.
Yeah,
this
that
is a sleep trap, and that could spell the end of this run pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised, assuming Troylus wakes up in time to live. There we go. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lift. Okay.
Yeah, I don't hate that. He had the inventory. He had 2 Oleams, a binding ball. He had an egg that he could have thrown. He had ways to get out of that if he failed the lift. So I like that he was conscious to try and save the inventory.
Yep, but this is just not a good situation here.
Yeah. Oh, and okay, that's nicely done.
Got out of it. Very nicely done. That is some nerves of steel on Troylus. I won't lie, I probably would have looked at that, gone, I have a wind crystal, and considered that. But it looks like Troylus is running to hold on until it really looks hopeful.
Yeah, I'm thinking that he wants to try to get to at least floor 12 and try to find the blue collar. Just in case he finds some kind of an egg or something on his next climb, that he will have the ability to fuse things. It's kind of a nice goal to try to go for on the first climb, to get the blue collar, just in case. It's a really nice item to have. You're probably not going to run around with 2 monsters out at once, generally speaking, but
in turns way too much EXP to divide it 3 ways, but there are occasions where it might come in handy.
Ooh, and that fire crystal coming in clutch with a 60 crit, very nice.
Yeah, looks like Plushie's taking it a little cautiously, not wanting to get sniped by any of these bow trolls. They are the most obnoxious form of troll. That is my firm stance.
I must say that I am a little surprised that Plushie's Kyun is still alive at this point. I know that she really doesn't like playing with Kyun for various reasons, but she's also pretty versed in running familiar lists because she is into the any percent scene. She's really interested in learning the strats and techniques for that. So she has done quite a bit of that, and generally speaking, she does run into some kind of gnarly things early on. So she does end up running without Kyun for a good while. And seeing that he's still alive on floor 12 now for her is really nice, especially with that stream wand. That's doing her a lot of favors right now.
It looks like they both managed to make it up there. This is a pretty evenly matched set of runners so far. It looks like there's that egg bomb. Troy was pulling out the white sand and hopefully being able to step aside these things. We'll see what Troylus's game plan is for this next section of game, pretty much, whether it'll be Kyunless and try and get an early good score.
Oh no, there's Plushie's Kyun, but she does get the lift. We'll probably see a lot more of that today. Plushie is known for her insane lift luck. Something we haven't really seen a whole lot of. I think we saw a few lifts.
Meanwhile,
yesterday.
Troylus has cursed lift luck today. That was about 3 60% chances failed.
I think
rough.
it's like 60, 65%, something like that. It's pretty heavily in your favor, but you know, RNG is RNG, so.
RNG in a game which is already so full of RNG, Troylus using the Dreamin' like a boomerang to distract those griffins that could really put the hurt on. 62.5,
very nice.
okay.
Plushie doing the same thing with a volcano. That's very nice.
Monsters will pretty much walk in a straight line until they hit something or reach an intersection. At an intersection, they will go along with their left hand against the wall like a good little monster scout. And if they hit something, they'll probably attack it. Or they'll turn around depending on whether or not it's something they can attack on the same side.
Oh, and another lift. She's only failed one lift so far, I think.
Really impressive lift.
Yeah.
That is the stuff. Unfortunately,
yeah, it is kind of what she's known for, so.
Sadly, the boomerang luck did not quite work out there. Rooms do interfere with it, and this is a pretty dense set of monsters that has to feel nerve-wracking because a pincer could absolutely mess with this.
Yeah, the boomerang strategy is really, really nice, but it only works if the monster is not if it hasn't seen you.
Oh, Plushie woke up pretty quickly.
Troy taking a beating from that griffin on high ground. He needs to be really careful here. Okay, binding will do it. Yeah, he can do a lift and just chuck it away. Yep. But now he is super. He can't take a hit from anything. Even a Dreamin' at this point would be able to probably kill him in one hit.
Yeah, probably. They still have that wood
blue
shield.
Collar, very nice.
Now, if they were to both somehow die on this floor and not make it any further in their subsequent runs, which is, I think, unlikely, to be honest with you. But if that were to happen, then Troylus would still be in the lead. But it looks like Troylus has decided that this situation has gotten intense enough to back out now. Now retreat while he has some inventory left.
And it's not a bad idea. Now he knows exactly how many charges he has on those balls. He still has his Scarlet Wand. He can get his Cune back, get some more levels on that. And that is a very solid inventory to be going into a second climb with.
Absolutely, and the tower will be completely reshuffled. But the seated towers do persist across multiple entries, not the individual tower layouts, but Troylus' second entry will be the same as Plushie's second entry. Plushie's third entry will be the same as Troylus' third entry, and so on. Up until some mind-boggling number of entries that we are unlikely to see in this tournament.
Yeah, I think it recycles after between like 25 and 30, something like that. Unique towers, and then they recycle.
Which is very cool. Well, and this tournament does allow us to see a unique thing about the first floor, which is, besides having just a unique set of tiles and etc. that it and the second floor share on reoccurring entries. Yeah, that's rough. Just barely, and now with very little left, vulnerable to all sniping, and that's probably not the place Plushie wanted to actually walk to.
Yeah, I think she didn't. I don't think she wanted to use an item to guarantee that she wouldn't be sniped, because it would still in line with that Griffin. But the Griffin also wasn't playing nice when she tried to get out of line and wait for it to stop covering the elevator, and finally decided that, she was just gonna
Might
gamble it
have to
anyway.
risk it.
So.
And hopefully this will be a small chance for Plushie to rest, get some HP back, and hopefully extend this lead while she has it. And her inventory's still pretty good. If luck goes her way, it might not be... She could go for a while yet.
Yeah, she's pretty low level at this point, but she does have the 2 fireballs. If she encounters a bunch of Garudas, she can easily get up to get a few level ups. She's eventually going to hit pickets, which are also pretty good experience, and you don't want to deal with them anyway.
They will rob you blind.
Good, though.
Yeah, not what she wants. Time to figure out what she has that can help her here.
And I like Troy. He fought Gosh and got that guaranteed medicinal, and he got the lucky wind crystal drop. I think it's probably worth actually fighting Gosh in this kind of a setting, just to get that medicinal herb guaranteed, with the small chance of getting the wind crystal. It doesn't take too much time, especially on if you got a few levels on Kuhn or you have a decent wand. You can pretty much always kill him in 2 or 3 hits, but I'm pretty sure Troy took him out in 1 there.
Always nice to see. He is a fantastic, annoying rifle character. He has some... I always like some of his animations when he's angry with you. I've always been a fan of that. This game does have some really nice sprite work, and some really weird sprite work. I don't know why the character designer felt that so many visible hairlines were necessary. It's really weird. Don't care much for that.
You gotta get all the detail on those eyebrows.
The eyebrows are the most important detail.
And this is floor 16 on Plushie's side. Knowing Plushie, she's looking for a barong to play with.
I think that's pretty likely, and always certainly fun. Never know what a barong will toss your way. They are the gachapon of the Azure Dreams ecosystem, which is a weird ecosystem. They have monsters that generate pseudo-electricity that they use to power devices. They have bowling pins. Bowling pins that are also monsters.
Oh, so's
it's
the bowling
just
ball.
Monsters all the way up.
Yep, the bowling ball itself is a monster, if I recall.
Yeah, isn't it
throw
one
it down the lane and
monsters because they're round and do turning around things? Or maybe I'm thinking, or maybe it's a different monster that is also light blue and spherical, which wouldn't surprise me. Kuhn is light blue and vaguely spherical, for that matter.
Yeah, I don't really remember too much about the town stuff. It's been a long time since I've done any of that stuff. Ooh, I know! The fireball. I think that was the one that she found, too. And I guess she hasn't sorted her inventory recently. So, I don't know if there is a way to actually tell if that was...
Now, using a very nice bit of gameplay knowledge, if you are standing on an item and a picket tries to steal from you, it will try and steal from that inventory space first. And that can be a great way to get rid of a picket and protect your inventory if you have to have some things that are less valuable.
Yeah, you can also, there's also another niche thing you can do with them. I think it's the leva fruit. The effect of it is you feed it to a monster and it prevents them from evolving. or being consumed in a fusion if they're like lower level or something. But the way that functions is it holds it in your inventory, which is exactly what the picket does when they steal an item. So you leave a fruit at them, and they think they got one over on you, and they just leave you alone. So
There,
useful
you
in
have
the
the use for one of the most useless items in this game.
pretty much, especially in a speedrun setting. Yeah, I mean it does have its uses in casual if you have like a specific monster or something that you want to play around with. But in general, yeah, they're a pretty useless item, and being able to get use out of any item is incredibly valuable, especially in a tournament setting or a speedrun setting. So
Every little bit helps because you never know what the tower is going to throw your way. It might not give you your top tier items early, often, or at all. Well, I can imagine a hypothetical use for the lay fruit. That's the opposite of the Leo lamb, right?
yeah, it increases the MP drain. I've seen Septic use one on
It's kind
golems.
of like a poison ball in a way when you think about it, but worse.
Yeah, I think the
'Cause
the only person I've ever really seen try to use it is Septic, and I think it was a golem. He just tried to bait the like rocket punch that they do. And even with the lave, it still took like 10 punches to drain its MP. It's a truly useless item.
Oh, very nice. Plus, she did manage to get that fireball back, and Troylus, meanwhile, has gone pretty high up the tower. So we're in this time so far, or has a pretty nice inventory.
Yeah, he's
Well,
found.
the treasure loops aren't anyone's, I think, favorite loop. The favorite loop is probably the exit loop, but
Yeah,
it
or
is
a trap
nice,
loop.
or a trap loop. But the treasure loop can be pretty handy for helping you understand a floor's layout at a glance. And if you just want to refill your inventory and have the ability to wander around a bit, that's a pretty handy one as well.
Troy getting demoted there. That kind. I mean, no, actually, he didn't lose too much experience there. I don't think. Again,
No,
it
but
does always suck to have all that experience thrown out, though.
Oh, and there is something to quickly antidote this problem.
Oh, yep, free level up. There we go. Better than he was before. I do really like the early treasure loops though. When you're scouring the floor for all the loot anyway, being able to know exactly where every item is on those first 5 is really nice. That's a nice speed boost. Anywhere else, like you said, it is kind of a way that you can gauge where a lot of rooms are. It's not guaranteeing that the elevator is going to be in any of those rooms. There are empty ones occasionally as well, but it is a nice way to gauge on which direction you can go and be able to find items instead of just long looping hallways and such. So
It's a little something anyway. And some of the time, something is better than nothing. That is the name of the game. Looks like that unfortunate fruit might be sacrificed to the picket gods. Yeah, but looks like this picket is not interested in stealing and was to get plush. It doesn't hit for a lot of damage, but when you're very underleveled, these things can add up.
and we can see on Troy's side, he's already hit floor. His state display is a little blurry. It's either 12 or 13. But he's made pretty quick progress on his second climb with Kuhn being leveled up now. He has came in with that Scarlet Wand. He had those 3 balls that still had charges in them. Resetting for him seems to have been a really good idea. Whereas Plushie's still on her first climb and just now hitting floor 18. She still has a lead, but it's not as much of a lead as I'm sure she would hope it is. Ooh,
Yeah, and
that's
that's
an
mean.
awful
That's
that's an
rough.
awful room. Yeah. Oh, and another
Yep.
one. At least it's not going towards her. That
Right.
bell, if that's a holy bell, that could be really nice.
Because you do not want, frankly, you don't really want to be in melee with a spider, much less 3 of them, but it does look like she's managed to lose at least one of them. Unfortunately, that bell was not the bell she was hoping for.
Yeah, and this Picket is not being nice either. She really doesn't have much HP to play around with here. I think if she still has binding charges, it'd be nice to bind this, or sleep, that works as well. That'll block off this hallway and that'll make that Picket and the spider stop following her. Oh, no,
A little too early. I mean,
yeah,
she can at least probably
okay,
reasonably safely.
at least it was only a CC that she lost there. I would have liked to see her leave that Arachne there, though, and then just deal with this one and let that Picket kind of wander around. But it seems to have worked out for her.
Yep, does have to use another sleep ball on this Arachne, and that's now a corridor she does not want to go down. Because it is full of spiders. And they can wake up.
Yeah,
It
they
is
will
less likely if they're not close to.
Yeah, if with it being in a hallway, the chances of them staying asleep for longer is a lot higher. If you're in a room with a sleeping monster, it has a chance to wake up every time you take a step in that room, or whenever you're standing directly next to it. Oh, this is bad.
Chance is a bit higher, but this is not an ideal situation here. Let's understatement.
Yeah, she does
Just a
have
touch.
some HP. She can take a hit probably. She's gonna be close.
What I would probably do is boomerang, like
Yeah,
so.
there we go. Perfect. That dealt with. Oh, okay, it did deal with
One of
both
them
of
turned
them.
back around. That's unfortunate. Oof.
Ooh, yeah, that hurts.
That's the one hit Plushie can take, and now it's time to hope that that binding ball still has charge.
Yeah, now she needs to hope that she doesn't encounter a Picket that doesn't have an item, because that Picket was doing 2 to 3 damage to her per turn, and
Per
it gets
attack.
yeah, and even if she takes a step, it's still getting a hit on her every time. So she can burn it though. Pickets are wind element. She can get some nice experience off of that.
And it's more likely for her to encounter one that's already stolen from her, because those do seek you out and generally come back to be near you and just to mock you. They will come up
Yeah.
close and they will run away, because that's how pickets work. Oh, I did not catch what
frog trap.
Troylus just did, but it was interesting looking. It had an animation. Was that...
I do like that he left the room. Although there was an elevator in there. It's never really a good idea to go up with being frogged, but it's also not the best idea to stay in a room, because your familiar will default to try to protect you, since you are kind of defenseless as a frog. So it's pretty easy to lose a familiar with a trap like that.
Oh, nice little item room. Meanwhile, Plushie has gotten out of that sticky situation and into Viper Town. A stickier situation. Because she'll still have the spiders. We dogs are not a joke. Okay.
Now, we don't have to deal with
And
the
there are
pickets
vipers.
anymore, though. So items being stolen from us is no longer a thing, but now we have them replaced with big scary dogs and unicorns. They can blind us, neither of which are... The unicorns are susceptible to her fireballs, though, and worth a decent amount of experience, but those are limited use items.
And she's already had plenty of reason to use them. I'm not sure how many charges any of her spell balls have left. Oh, stream one. That would be nice if she's a lead Q.
Yeah, I like that medicinal herb as well. That'll let her be able to take another hit for a lift opportunity or something.
She did see that elevator on a spin-in, as well as all of the monsters surrounding it. Troylus missed the maneuver Vajuking didn't manage to stay outside of its aggro range, even if it is a smaller aggro range. Looks like Plushie is looking to make sure that elevator room gets mostly cleared out of monsters, and it looks like that worked perfectly.
She used a monster loop there to make room for the Oleem, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I kind of wish she would have held on to it for floor 25-ish when stealths can be a thing, because the stealth's unique ability is that it can go invisible, and while it doesn't work too good if it's your familiar, it works really nicely for enemies. You have no idea where they are generally, and they can spawn in already invisible. The monster loop will completely negate that ability, which is super nice.
Yeah, it's handy, and certainly I feel like Plushie has inventory she could
Oh
have
yeah, that's
sacrificed to keep both of them. That
yeah,
familiar
that's
bell, that malicious bell, isn't going to be of much practical use here.
yeah, that vital sword or the lave fruit. She had items that I would have preferred her to get rid of first, but the
Also,
monster loop,
Troylus found a barong. Let's see
yeah,
what it gives.
I'm wondering.
Uh,
Oh, he's
Interesting
trying to keep those.
choice.
He's trying to keep those other enemies out. If he throws an item at it, the Barong actually won't move. It'll use its turn to spit an item back out. So that's not a bad idea. It keeps him safe from that Maneva and
Diamond Shield.
the Garuda
Shield.
there.
Shame about the
Yeah, that's not
being
really what he
cursed.
wanted to see. It is, yeah, it is nice if you get an item from a Barong. It is guaranteed to not be cursed. Even the Dark Sword, which in normal gameplay would be guaranteed to be cursed. If it comes from a Barong, it will not be.
Also, walking into a Manaweva, that is never very pleasant.
Plushie seems to have froze for us for the time being, and that is a kind of a rough spot for her to be in. She can take a hit from that Viper if she goes for a lift or something. Does have the Oleem, the binding, and the sleep, though those balls are probably getting pretty low. Two
And the
holy scrolls,
Oleem
that
is
might be a
only
good
good for
option.
one monster here,
Yeah,
and
that.
so it has to be thought about which one monster it will be.
And she's pretty quickly coming up onto zoo and blocks and things like that, which are and snowmen are all prime targets for the Oleem. She does
Mm,
have the
they
wind
can't
seed.
be lifted, they can't be thrown away.
It looks like she threw a holy scroll at it. That was a pretty good
Pretty
play, I think.
sensible.
Yeah, I think that's a
With
pretty
other
good play.
monsters in the area, having something that's on your side is a handy one, and it will fight for you for a little while. Until it dies, probably in like one or two monsters.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Depending on what it is, it can probably take out one, especially if it gets the first hit. It can pretty much guarantee take out one enemy, maybe two, depending on what it is. But the downside is that once it's gone, even if you have an item like a restore scroll, you can't bring it back. And if you go up a floor, it's gone. But it is a really nice companion to have for that floor. You can always feel guilt free at sacrificing it and just casually walking away as it dies.
Mm, that is always a handy experience to be able to have. We are unfortunately a little bit in slideshow land here. The vacation photos of later Viper Town.
Yeah, I'm not
Town.
quite sure what's up with Plushie's stream. We'll have to maybe look into that for the next game. We are about 18 minutes ish from the end of the first round though, and Plushie still has a 3-floor lead at the moment.
those floors have gone by, for Troylus, very fast.
Yeah, he's
Also,
made a pretty solid and pretty fast
picking up a
climb.
stream wand might be worth it to switch to water cube.
Yeah,
No
and that
cube.
he may want to consider. Ooh, that fireball being stolen is not cool. He may want to
No.
consider holding off on going water until he hits floor 20, just because of these pickets. They'll be a lot more
Yeah,
difficult
that is a
to
point.
kill. But yeah,
Particularly because that fireball
that
got stolen.
that feels bad. Using that exit loop, that elevated floor tile there was actually hiding the elevator from him, and he couldn't see it on the map with it zoomed out that far. So he actually used it standing one tile away. That's a little rough, but you know, we all make mistakes occasionally. Now, right here, yes, it looks like he's doing exactly what I would like to see him do. Water strats from here on out.
Oh, this is a nice little item room over on Plushie's side. Holy Scroll, that is really something I think she wants to see here. And here it is, a versatile little way of getting out of problems.
Yeah, unfortunately, not a whole lot of stuff there. If she had a familiar still, it would have been, that water ball could have been nice. That essentially makes fire monsters a non-threat. But the unfortunate thing is that you can't use it directly on yourself. You can get the effect on Ko, but you have to use another ball called a repel ball to bounce
and
the
that
effect
creates
back.
a silly multi-step process
Yeah,
that you're
it's
unlikely to have access to in a real pinch.
Yeah, and it does take time to set it. It takes 2 turns to set it up, so you gotta... If you're sprinting around and run face first into something, it's not really gonna help you too much, and it is pretty time consuming because the water effect is pretty long to begin with, and you have to watch it twice because of the bounce effect to get it on Ko. So not really any use to her. Ooh, that confuse trap on Troy's side is really nice.
Troy might have missed the elevator, and that's less than ideal, because Plushie is still going strong here, floor 26.
Yeah, and it seems like both runners are actually playing with the map zoomed out as far as they can. I know there are a few runners that like to do that. I really don't like that. I like to be able to... I think I zoom it in once, like it plays the very next option from the smallest, just so I can see the little blinking squares for the elevator and things.
Yeah, that level of zoom out is a little bit tricky to play around with, particularly because it is pretty easy to zoom out the map when you need to see the larger map. But sometimes, often, that map is the best perspective you have on some of the trickier floor layouts. Plushie picking up an egg, probably going to use it as an egg bomb of some sort. It's a little late in the game to worry about a familiar now.
Yeah, and I'm thinking with her only having about 15 minutes left, if she's paying any attention to the timer at all, she is probably thinking that she doesn't have time for another climb, and she's kind of right. She'd have to have some pretty crazy luck to be able to get higher than this in that amount of time. So she's probably planning on using that as an egg bomb at this point.
That's reasonable. It's unlikely to be something unhelpful, though there are unhelpful things it could be. Troylus getting the pickup on that invisible stealth. That is why you don't want to be wandering around these floors at low health.
And as far as that goes, Plushie's actually... I mean, she's still under-leveled, level 16 on floor 28, but as far as like a tournament setting goes, or like an any percent type of thing, that was a very nice Maneuver juke on Plushie's side there. That's pretty average, I would say. She's doing okay with the levels there, I think. Floor 29.
Yeah, she's not going to be able to fight anything, but that's true anyway.
Yeah. Even if she
Pretty
had
much.
immune at this point, she might be able to fight a few things like maybe a Maneva or two, but things like Napless and Snowmen, she's not really gonna be able to deal with them for the most part. Maybe the occasional Mandara she could take if she was water element with the Stream Wand.
With a Stream Wand,
Ooh,
one
okay,
and a Water Cune,
that was a nice.
you can do a little bit of fighting if you're careful all the way up, pretty much. But at the same time, it's a dicier and dicier prospect, and here, in this circumstance, without Cune and a powerful wand, it's just a no-go. It's just doomed.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate on Plushie's side there. She threw that Holy Scroll at the Snowman, but the monsters, even if they're friendly, can't go through the Holy Beams of that invincibility tile. So that Snowman is still friendly to her, but she has no way of telling which one is the friendly one now until she gets in melee and it chooses to not smack her in the face.
And if you're in melee with a snowman and you don't know if it's your friend, it's not your friend.
Pretty much, yeah.
You've made a terrible decision somewhere in this process.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad. I'm pretty sure that this killer, I'm pretty sure that killer was gonna die there.
And now it's a matter of what to do with the Napla. Now, the good news with that, I wouldn't use the sleep ball on
I don't like to sleep on it because it can just immediately wake up.
Wake up and attack like that!
Yeah,
Napless also, because Naplesses go asleep on their own sometimes, and if you've got a Holy Scroll protection tile, you could just wait and see if it goes to sleep.
Yeah, and that's the Napless has the trait, like Sand Knight pointed out. It can have basically between 80 and a billion hit points. Its trait is that it has double HP growth. And like a lot of things in the tower, they, like the blocks that we saw, the Arachnes have double attack power. They have those traits, but they aren't exactly active, per se, until you cure the status. However, HP comes back over time. So the Napless will start with whatever its base HP is, and will slowly regain up to double its HP the more turns you spend. So the longer you're on the floor, the longer you're on a floor, the more dangerous it becomes.
That's true pretty much all the time. But it's especially true when it comes to things like Naplesses that can just ruin your day. Looks like Troylus is committing, and off Troylus goes. Floor 27. Then closing that gap on Plushie.
Yes.
But will he be able to seal that gap entirely and overtake in the next 10 minutes? That is the question.
Oh, with this nice elevator train, maybe he will, yeah. Floor 29. Plus, she's having a little bit of trouble on this floor. Oh, and that's an unfortunate thing. That Napless got turned around by the killer. Thankfully, she used that Holy Bell, and, well, I think there was a killer there before. Now it's a Napless. And for some reason, these guys turned around again. I'm a little confused
I guess
on what's going on here.
The room was big enough that if DamagedPlushie stayed against that back wall, things just outside the room would not aggro. And so it couldn't move forward, and it couldn't aggro, and therefore it had no reason to stick around. That is how that worked. This doesn't generally work on smaller rooms due to the size of the aggro range keeping monsters on you. But in a big enough room...
Don't do it, Plushie! No, oh, that hurts so much.
That is so risky business.
Yeah, the killer can guarantee that he gets a crit if he spends like 8 MP as an ability called Get Serious. He jumps in the air. So that was incredibly dangerous, but if she had stepped a few steps back, that killer would have de-aggroed from her, and because of the Holy Bell would have turned around.
Napla showing off its ability to wake up and smack you one, and then go right back to sleep.
Oh,
Plushie.
did she? She didn't skip Beldo. That
No,
was a quick
no, we
Beldo.
saw Beldo.
And floor 32, 33 even.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Troy's,
real quick. We might see a 40 clear. Can we see it?
Troy's got his work cut out for him here for sure. 34, this elevator train. What is going on here?
It's some madcap elevator luck, and it looks like Troylus will probably not share that luck. He might get similar luck, but it will be different. And oh no, it's a Manueva.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. He has that malicious scroll is probably the way to go, I would think.
Yeah, it's not
pick up Kuhn. Yep,
the
exactly.
best
There you go.
thing in the world, but it is better than nothing.
Yeah, that warp trap is tempting if that Maneva will leave him alone.
Doesn't look like Maneva wants to leave him alone, and now I'm confused, and now
Tumna glitch?
That's dangerous.
He can Tumna glitch your turn. He can give that Tumna to his Kuhn and then bag it, and he'll have tile immunity.
It looks like he was trying to do that, but doesn't know how to do that, and it just resulted in him holding the Tumna rather than using it.
Oh, no. Troy down on 29. There's no coming back from that one. Plushie's gonna take round 1.
Yep.
I think we did have a bit of a late start here, so I think that we can pretty safely call this match and get them started on the second seed.
Sounds like a plan to me. Floor 35 on Plushie's side. GG, this was a fantastic start to this slate of matches by both runners. Really well played. 36. Woo!
Yeah, that was an impressive climb. That's still her first entry too, and she lost Kuhn on like floor 10 or 11. She's, like I said before, she is pretty accustomed to running without familiar. It's just a little bit of item management and things that she needed a little bit of work on.
Yeah, it would be super
really well.
rad to get a full clear. It's something that we need to be aware that we got a bit of a late start. Getting this tournament set up is sometimes a little tricky due to having so many widgets to manage. That is the end of that binding ball. I don't think the sleep has anything. So this might be the end, even if Plushie.
She's pretty quickly running out of things.
Already winning.
Yeah, Troy did incredibly well too, though. That was a pretty calculated decision he did, leaving on floor 12, I think it was, 13, something like that. And he made that second climb incredibly fast. Plus, she had like a 17 floor lead, and he took that all the way down to like a 2 or 3 floor lead at one point before she got some crazy elevator train RNG. He did incredibly well too.
Yeah. Did something happen with this stream? I'm seeing an F in chat for the stream and do not entirely know why.
Yeah, the stream looks fine to me in the restream on Discord. I'm not sure what that's about.
It might be that because neither of them are pressing buttons at the moment because they are getting set up for the next round. I'm hoping that's the case. Otherwise, you will have to tell us, chat, because it looks fine on our end.
Okay, so seed-wise, let's see what the next seed number will be.
9888.
Yep, 9888, and I just realized I've been doing all of this stuff in the wrong channel. I'll have to remedy that for this one.
Okay, it looks like we will be taking a quick bathroom break. I'm going to go refresh my drink, and if that's the case, and then I will be back. And it looks like the stream is back in order. Be right back.
Okay, there was just a bit of a hiccup, it seems, but some refreshing seems to have fixed it. That is really, really good to hear. 9888. We are having a tiny bit of a break here. We have some, yeah, okay, so Plushie seed is good. Troy will have his up in a moment here. In the meantime, though, what's up with you guys today, chat? I guess while we have some downtime, if this is your thing, you like Azure Dreams, you like our tournament setting, we do have a match pretty much immediately after this one at, I believe it's 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Best joke ever. No, I'm not asking Sand Knight for a joke. I've been playing a good bit of Wilderness with him recently, and I don't know how I've survived this long, man.
Oh, Wilderness? That's a pretty good name. I've had a lot of fun with it lately.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. I've seen Sandy play it on stream a couple times, and we've been playing it off and on for the past, like, I don't know, week or two maybe. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it.
Very cool. Alright, Plushie's seed is good. Good for when she is back.
And Troy is also good with the seed.
Alrighty, so they can get rolling when they're ready. Oh, yes, furworm. That is one of my favorite. You know, like, I know a lot of people like the sorry Surrey curry joke. I like the furworm joke. Also, hats off to those translators.
Yeah, the sorcerer that you named Sandwich, and then you gave her a giant club because she was a club sandwich. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
That's what I've been dealing with in Wildermyth. The last campaign we did, they were all sand related names for his part of our group. And the worst part about
Beautiful.
it is that I didn't even the sandwich thing. I didn't even realize it until like 5 minutes later when he said it in a sentence, and I just face palmed so hard.
Well, it's a perfectly good joke. Okay. But thank you, Rugga, for joining me firmly in the Furworm Club. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, and it sounds random, in between talking about Wilderness, we're also talking about this game. You're able to build up the town, and one of the things you can have is a theater. And the thing you, other than look at date a girl, what you can do at the theater is participate in a two-man comedy routine, a manzai routine. As I think you're the straight man in that one. It's hard to tell because both of the characters are insane in different ways in that sequence.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly bad and great at the same time.
That is a very good summary of much of this game. And much of Sand Knight's sense of humor.
Alright, the runners have been counted down. They should be off any second now.
So then, they had a pretty good start last time. I'm wondering what the tower will throw their way. Will it be stingy, or will they get a shield earlier when it still matters? These are the questions we must ask ourselves.
I'm kind of hoping we find another camo shield just to keep it going.
Well, so far we are 0 for, I think, 3 or 4 ice shields equipped in this tournament. Not counting ones that weren't actually picked up. Either way, if they've been counted down, we'll be seeing them taking off to their next adventure. Sure, it looks like Troylus has added a 2 for the number of this round. There, going best of 3, so it's still very possible for Troylus to overtake here.
Yeah, and are we get? Okay, no naming on Plushie side. Do we get Wooga again?
We might.
Looks
we might
like
see
it.
Wugga too. Just Wugga. That works. Oh, I had thought that was a 2, but no, it's the usual little musical note mark. So I suppose we should assume that anyone who says Troy's player character name should be singing it, but we will spare you that in our infinite mercy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. It can be
We are
implied, and I'm
merciful,
cool with
the
that.
tower has none.
And before Garwooga, I don't know.
That'd be interesting to see. Yeah. Garuda is one of those monsters that very much changes the nature of the run in a way that can be a curveball to a newer runner. Utilizing them fully is a little tricksy.
Yeah, there's a lot of menuing that goes into using a Garuda. Which is, I mean, this game is actually one of the most responsive games to the menu that I've ever played. You can actually
sometimes a little too responsive, I think.
Yeah, you can actually input things before the menu even pops up. And I'm not quite good enough to really do that, but there are runners like Wooga who plays with Garuda like every day that is pretty good at that kind of stuff. So.
It's an interesting property for this particular game to have on top of its other interesting properties. And it never ceases to amaze me quite the weird little corners it had.
Early blinder ball on floor 2. That's one of my favorite utility balls. Really good on the higher floors when things aren't liftable anymore. You just at least one space away and just step out of their path and they just keep walking. Very, very useful item.
It is a very nice one. So it feels like it lasts a little bit longer than other statuses, though I don't know.
It does seem like that, yeah. Although poison coming from a
poison
spell
is
ball, yeah, that does seem to last for quite a while too, but
I was thinking more about the other status effect balls that you're more likely to use than poison. Poison's handy provided you're able to lead your poisoned enemies on a run about the map. Plushie committing to the money wand early on. That's going to make these first couple of floors a bit easier. Luckily, no punishment for that.
I'm wondering with this early, with Kuhn only being level 2, I'm wondering if maybe that steel sword would actually do more damage.
It might.
Certainly, she could conserve MP if she equipped the steel sword and just didn't use mix at all, but MP usually isn't too much of a problem with Kuhn starting at 100. He has, I think he's the second highest MP.
Who's first highest? Oh, is it the special one?
Yeah, I think it's the 40 floor egg has like 120 normally.
That would explain why I did not think about it. But it's not one you see very often.
Yeah, but
and
as far
even
as...
in running circles, it's often seen fused with something that has a bit easier time re-getting MP. But it will always be eaten in a fusion, so you don't see it in its full form very
Which is
often.
unfortunate. That it is one of my favorite looking monsters, and I like its base attack. It like claws at things. That's pretty cool, but it is cursed to never be able to win a fusion, and you can't feed it the Leva fruit. So it, much like Kuhn, who can never lose, the monster on 40 can never win. There are some shenanigans you can do to pass on its spell, though. That is another thing. It will never win, and its spell is not supposed to be transferable. But through some
it is.
shady things, you can transfer it. It's a little buggy at times, but it works. And the New Game Plus category is actually pretty heavily based around it as well.
Oh no.
I do like we're seeing a lot of sword chucking here. Plushie chucked one at a troll. We just saw Troy throw one at that flame there. And that's a good use of these items, especially because they're both using the money wand right now anyway. The swords are just taking up inventory space. And they're really, really good to use here because a lot of things you can kill in 1 or 2 hits anyway. That troll is a guaranteed kill with a sword. You can 2-hit the flames there, and it's just a free hit on a cyclone, which is probably going to take 2 or 3 hits to kill anyway. So it's very nice.
Cyclones probably are the trixiest monster on these first couple of floors. While they can be burnt away without a whole lot of hassle, they are fairly heavy hitters. And that's a thing you don't always think about on these relatively safe floors, because they're the heaviest things you can probably fight. Heaviest in the sense of hits, though they are also unliftable. But so are flames, so I don't know how you would compare their weights. And balloons, which is... Look,
yeah, the balloon always kind of confused me. Not necessarily element-wise. I think the balloon can kind of go any element, really. As far as making sense.
I don't think that water would make a lot of sense.
Water balloon?
Yeah, I guess, but like, when you see that sort of balloon, you don't think, oh, maybe it's a water balloon.
True. It would be kind of dragging around on the floor or something, but... yeah, having
maybe
it not
if it bounced around on top of the balloon, maybe then it would read like a water balloon more.
At least they're pushable, though.
They are pushable, that's true. But yes, in terms of realism, I suppose flames should not cast a shadow, because they give off so much light in and of themselves, what with being on fire. I hear the distant sounds of my dog playing with a toy. Anyway...
Casually speaking, I do really like the death animation of the balloon where they just pop and fly around, but...
It's adorable. I appreciate you, game.
It's one of the few monsters that has like a unique death animation. Most of them just kind of sizzle away, like the cyclone there or the flame. And I guess the flame is kind of a little thematic, like it just gets snuffed out, I guess, but it's...
Still, it is
really much different.
The same animation as basically everything. Oh, it's set balloons for some reason. And meanwhile, we dogs don't even get sleeping animations. They just, their eyes go very slightly dim, and that's that. Troylus using a trap loop. That'll get him some EXP if he wants it. It is worth noting that trap discovery EXP does not scale up in any way, and
I think that was a misstep there. I think he
that
meant
must
to
have
hit
been a
it.
misstep, because that could have gone much worse, actually. Whoops-a-doodle.
Troy with a single floor lead right now, but we've seen that a slight lead can turn into a pretty big one fairly easily, so...
True, though they are on the same tower entry.
Yeah, and I have seen Troy before the tournament started was doing a bit of practice with Septic at one point, and I think that Troy and Plushie are roughly the same skill-wise. Troy is very capable of getting to floor 35, whatever Plushie got to last time, as well. It just was that he had a little bit of bad. Yeah, it was just a little bit of bad luck on his side last time. So
there's that sleep trap on Plushie's side. That is the same sleep trap here, undiscovered. But in the end, it doesn't make a huge lot of difference for either of them.
Oh, that was a bit of a error on Plushie's side, trying to juke them and even not having quite enough space there. And her Kuhn takes it a little bit of a beating for it, but nothing overly bad.
Yeah, that's fairly recoverable, and while that Manueva is following them, it's also at a very low level. It's not one, rather, I think here it functionally is one, but as a whole, it's not one, but I don't remember what it is.
I'm not sure how the clones function. I know they generally have very low HP and they only do 1 damage. I don't know if I'm pretty sure that they can recover HP if they're left. But I don't think that they really get much stronger, so you can't really tell them apart. Kind of like the Holy Scrolled Snowman we saw last game. You can't tell them apart until you're getting hit by them.
Or hitting them.
Yeah, or you just outright kill them in one hit, which is not usual. Troy needs to be a little careful with his Kuhn, only having 5 HP here.
Yeah, while bow trolls will be shooting at you. If you dodge, say, because you have a leather shield on, their bolt will still keep going. It can hit whatever's behind you, including but not limited to Kuhn. And they will also try and use Kuhn, shoot at Kuhn in order to try and hit you. Excuse me. If Kuhn is between you and that. So it can be a slightly tricky situation.
Ooh. Oh, Troy already has a wind crystal, okay.
Also an egg. Yeah, that is the thing about mushrooms.
This is only floor 10 though, so unfortunately it doesn't have a chance to be a Garuda, but it could be a clown or a U-boat, which would also be very good.
Those would be pretty fantastic outcomes.
Yeah, and especially if he gets the blue collar on floor 12, that clown could be fused with his Kuhn, or just used as a separate familiar, really. It doesn't really matter too much, but the U-boat would be incredibly nice to have, especially with the blue collar.
Yeah, it allows you to scout out a floor, see the whole map. It is basically a star glass you can refill.
Yep, it costs 16 MP, I believe, to use Scout, but fortunately, it doesn't require the full amount. You can have as little as 1 MP and still be able to use the skill. And thankfully, you can get tiny bits of MP here and there through unwanted herbs like the Wake Up Herb and Hazlic Herb and things like that, or seeds, or different fruits and things. Even the bad ones, I guess that's kind of the only use of like a lave fruit that would make your MP consumption higher, just to get it and be done with it immediately anyway. But yeah, very, very useful monster to have, especially if you hatch it early.
Yeah. It is one of those things that...
hurts. That blew up the glasses there. Yeah, he's a little frustrated.
I'm pretty sure could have seen
yeah,
what that was, but
pretty sure that's what he was hoping for. That's a little painful, but he still has the option. He could just, bite the bullet and hatch it and hope that it's something good.
Right. It could also be a griffin, which acts as a reasonable Kuhn substitute if anything happens to Kuhn.
Yeah, and in which case he would actually want to hold on to that egg for as long as possible, because the monster that comes out of that egg will usually be the same level as Ko. I think there is some kind of coding that it can end up being like the floor level or something along those lines, but it's usually whatever Ko's level is. So generally, if it is something like a griffin, which is a nice Kuhn replacement, you're going to want to let your Ko get as much experience as possible before you hatch it. Hatching it now, it would only be... that's pretty blurry, but I think he's like level 8 or so, and then having a level 8 griffin on floor, 26, not as useful as maybe a level 16 one.
Right, that is the thing. There was something... Oh yeah! Troylus zoomed in his camera for a moment while he had that dream in attacking the ice rock ball to ideally get it off screen so you wouldn't have to sit through the whole animation of it attacking the ice rock ball.
Yeah,
that is a little trick that'll help make it less of the real slow trap. Looks like he's going to be trying to hatch that egg, seeing what is inside. Best of luck.
Yeah, and even if it is, even if it isn't like the U-boat or the clown, it could still be a Bloom or a Maneva, which can still be useful to him. If he gets the blue collar, he can use them to change Kuhn to water element, which he made good use of last time with the stream wand. So there's a lot of good possibilities he can get out of this. It can also just be a pretty decent egg bomb too, but I like the decision that he's trying to hatch it here. There's a lot of good things that can come out of this.
Yeah. Looks like he's getting a nice long windup. Let's see what it is.
Ooh,
it is a cyclone.
That's not bad. Yeah, even that's not bad. He can fuse that with Kuhn and give it... Oh no, he freed it!
Well, it does look like he is on 412 and is about to leave. So it might be that he just... Did he find the blue collar? If he did, then the cyclone's useless.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm not sure. I don't think he found the blue collar. That's the only reason I can see for him freeing it, with it not being...
As opposed to fusing it.
Yeah, because
it wouldn't change Kuhn's element because fire beats wind.
Yeah,
he skipped the blue collar, so it's not going to do him any good. And now, he is between two mules.
Two of the precursors of the best monster in the game. And he just melted them with an acid rainbow. We'll go.
Very nicely done.
We need
also,
to have
good job identifying the range on the acid rainbow. Because it normally hits a full room, you would think, oh, range is really big. No, in a hallway, range is really small. It's very disappointing. Yeah,
and it's kind of the same functionality as the AOE, spells that we probably won't see in this tournament, barring some pretty incredible RNG.
Luck and shenanigans.
Yeah, so
AOS
Yeah.
spell makes me think, ding, you've got monsters.
Oh, we had plenty of them yesterday.
That we did.
Yeah, 2 monster dens. Very, very nice to see. Oh, that's rough for Plushie there.
Yeah, that is not what you want. That
Oh,
Cune is going there.
yeah.
Oh. That's an
That,
unfortunate loss of a Cune early on.
yeah, that was a rough situation. If Ko had taken the damage, Ko would have been pretty much at half HP from what he already has. But at least Cune would have still been alive. Now, granted, we did see last siege she did incredibly well running without Cune, so it is possible she can still do a good climb here. But losing Cune, not ideal by any means.
No, never feels really great unless you were deliberately running Cuneless, and then you just wouldn't get Cune in the first place. You would just use a glitch entry approach. Ouch.
She's probably gonna go for another lift here, I would think. Yeah, and
Yeah,
she gets it. Of
to
course
get
she gets it. Of course she gets it.
Mm-hmm. In this case,
and I just noticed Plushie has an ice shield that she's not using.
So we are now another round of. Well, to be fair, Plushie does have a leather shield. That makes sense.
This is true. Yeah, I don't blame her for not using it while having the leather shield, but
it's still funny.
I just wanted to point that out.
Looks like Troylus sizing up whether or not to fight, that troll. Trolls can deal a pretty hefty damage when they're sword trolls. Even though they're not super hard to fight, if you don't have a lot of HP, they will make sure you have none.
Yeah, I think the sword troll, the sword actually negates shield defense, I believe, which is part of the reason why they hit so hard. Or something akin to that. They negate some of it or something along those lines, which is why they're a little dangerous.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you find a hammer or even a bow, some people will try to get them to swap the weapon. Maybe not so much the bow, because the bow's a little annoying, but a hammer for sure.
If you're in melee, a bow's not too bad, but yeah, a hammer definitely, always a hammer. It is one of my favorite little tricks because I just feel very clever when I do it.
It's a little tricky to do. I think you have to be a certain amount of spaces away and throw it at them for them to equip it. But yeah, it is a neat little trick, and we don't see it very often.
Then it's hard to get it. Troll weapons are very rare. There's that holy scroll back.
In a casual play, it's actually a pretty reliable way to get a bow, because the bows are incredibly rare. So getting a bow troll to throw in a sword or a hammer at it will get it to drop its bow, which is pretty nice.
Good money.
Yeah, it is really good money.
Money is valuable in other forms of Azure Dreams. But here, we don't care about any of that. The Acid Rain Ball, not a big loss. They only come with one charge, and it's already been used.
One moment, Demi, I'll be right back.
Alrighty. Yeah, I will keep things warm for you. Plushie, having a bit of a time deciding what to do with the bow trolls. Looks like hoping to get them in a situation where she doesn't have to fight both of them, and also they can't both shoot at her. Oh, Ice Shield! The streak has been broken. Ice Shield is revealed. Because this is the time for it. Everything here is fire. Everything here hurts a decent chunk.
Yeah, and she's sitting on really low HP. That will probably let her take an extra hit. I think she could still take one with the leather shield, but having that little bit of extra HP to play around with is nice, especially when you're really low and you're not getting much time to regenerate next to the elevator like you'd like.
The camo shield meme popped up as a result of yesterday's match, in which both runners had a wood shield, or no shield, an ice shield, and then never equipped the ice shield under any circumstances.
Yeah,
They
under
kept it for a long time.
Yeah, I think Shuzo actually brought one in the tower with him and never equipped it on a re-entry. It's just a little funny thing that we were pointing out.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much caution in terms of not wanting that elemental disadvantage on incoming attacks, I think, because especially when you know it's not cursed, Ice Shield's fine.
Oh, in Razor's case, his trainer Chai actually told him it wasn't worth it, so I'm gonna blame Chai on that one, just because I think it's funny.
DamagedPlushie getting the blue collar didn't get that egg, it looks like, or if she did, she ended up using it as a bomb of some sort.
And Troy has a pretty good lead at this point. I believe he's moving up to floor 19 right now, and he still has his Qun alive. He's looking pretty good. He's got some pretty good spell balls. His inventory's pretty strong as well. Oh, and he's just running straight to the elevator. Floor 20 for Troylus at 25.5 minutes.
That's very nice.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's a little bit less nice, but isn't a hugely insurmountable problem. Probably would like to not be right directly near that wee dog, but the good news is that you can still use items, Qun can still do things, it's just your movements that get a little bit messy.
Ooh, and the kick animation, I love that so much. This is one of the rare occasions, if Ko is poisoned, or not poisoned, if he is confused and you try to attack, it is one of the very rare occasions that you can actually damage your own familiar. Which I believe, outside of he probably would have only dealt 1 damage to the wee dog anyway, is the reason he wasn't trying to do an attack there.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be worthwhile. Wouldn't be likely to succeed.
Yeah, as a general rule of thumb, I think there is an option that you can turn on friendly fire in the options, but as a general rule, you can't attack your familiar. I mean, unless you hit him with like a spell ball or you throw something at him. Yeah. There are a few kind of niche cases. The floor 40 monster can actually kill itself with its mixed magic if you're not careful.
Sure thing. I did not know about. Either way, Troylus has made it all the way up to Viper Town. Has a decent array of spell balls, and that Viper is probably on his side. Or at least a Viper was and is no longer. It's one of those things. Unfortunately, that room with the elevator being patrolled by a spider looked a little bit stuck there for a minute. Unfortunately, not as stuck as he might have wanted it to be.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a height problem. It was trying to go out of an exit and it was trying to go directly to it, but the height difference was too great, so it was just walking around in circles until Troy entered the room, and then it targeted onto him and just walked out.
Ooh.
Now that I don't believe that can be a Garuda anymore, but it could still also be something water-based. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the blue collar though, so that's probably just going to be a bomb.
True.
Oh,
there goes the Palumpa.
I actually don't like that. I kind of wish that he would have. I would have liked to see him drop the egg behind him. One of the unique things about the Viper is if there's an egg in the room.
Oh, that's a decision.
Yeah, that is a decision. He can either basically his options now are to continue with Kyun and using the mix magic, or he can hatch that Arachne and pretty much go full melee with it. Use the AI 1 strats. Because fusion isn't on the table. I mean, he could also crystal out, hatch it there, and go from
But
there.
I think on this floor, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, with his inventory and the time remaining, I think he's probably planning on making this a one and done climb.
Yeah, we see him using a seed onco. That is the sign of a one and done climb.
That's kind of a rough choice here with having that Arachne egg there.
Yeah, it is a very powerful option.
It is nice to know what it is, though. Now he knows it's a very strong water monster, so he can be very picky about what he would throw that at if he chooses to do that. He can save that for maximums or dragons later on if he gets that high. Instead of kind of guessing and getting a unicorn or a picket or something like that against in a
Picket
really
is one of the
situation.
profoundly disappointing egg bombs. You throw it, it does 2 damage, and then it's gone. And you're like, well, now I'm dead.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the invisible stealth we were talking about last time. I don't think we actually saw any.
We did see one, I think. I think Troylus' Kyun got hit by an invisible stealth.
Oh, yeah, Skeef, that is a good point. If you hatch the Arachne into town, it does have its base attack. You have to actually restore its attack power to get the double growth effect on it. So even if you did hatch it at the house, you would still have to not only level it up, but find a means of restoring its attack power to really get the full benefit.
That's convenient. Also, is this we've got a 425 picket, folks. That is related. They spawn on 425 specifically due to a quest you can get in town that spawns a special white picket in the tower. Sometimes. Yeah, I've had really bad luck about that picket.
I think they have about the same rarity of spawning as a Barong does, which can make things really difficult.
That makes me feel better.
If they don't spawn in the original batch of monsters, you have to kill things to open more slots. And if you're doing a run like a bookless % run, especially if you have already turned Kyun water at this point, everything on this floor is wind, so it's incredibly difficult to kill things. Maybe not so much the stealths, but there's a lot of zoos and blocks on this floor that can be a real pain to get rid of.
Plushie did find her favorite mini game, played the wrong slots until it went out. Let's see what she managed to get for that. A Holy Bell, a Blaze Ball.
And
that was pretty. Was that late or early in its cycle of MP?
I'm guessing that was probably somewhere towards the middle, I would think. And this is a great use of her Peta, seeing as she doesn't have Kyun anymore. Yeah. Now the real question is she going to be able to stop herself once her inventory is full? I know Plushie does really love to play with the Barongs.
Looks like that's not probably... here we go.
Take a step back so it doesn't hit you. There you go.
Good call. They are... While we generally don't get hit by them because we can just do this instead, and they are not weak in the hits department. I mean, they are surprises.
They're also really tanky on the HP side. They have a lot of HP.
Oh, that would be great. For that 420 egg.
Yeah, that water crystal, she decides to hatch the Arachne egg. Which, if she keeps the truth glasses, she'll know immediately what that is. she'll be able to immediately recover its attack power.
That'll be very nice. Is
Yeah, but she
Troylus
really
using a
needs
wind
to.
seed to get that Mandara to be a wind monster, to get that extra advantage over it, at least to lose the disadvantage.
Yeah,
I never liked
Plushie
that there.
really needs to pick up the pace here. Troy is making really good time. Floor 27 at 34 minutes right now.
Yeah,
If
that is
she doesn't pick up
wild.
the pace, he's liable to make 40 at this point, and well under the time limit if he keeps this pace up.
Yeah, we'll see if that's possible. I think with the money wand, we're getting pretty close to the edge of what Kuhn can do in terms of fighting things directly. With a different wand, it would be different, but yeah.
Yeah, not having a dedicated elemental wand at this point is a little disappointing considering how high he is in the tower, but I mean, at least he still has some kind of a bonus from the money one. That was unfortunate. That really hurt our poor little buddy there. But yeah, he's really starting to get to the point where fighting things is a chore and pretty dangerous. He can really only take one hit from a lot of these things, so if he can't kill it in 2 hits, he's got to spend resources on it or try to avoid the fight entirely. Whereas if he had, I believe he's still fire at this point. If he had a scarlet one, that may not be the case. And another egg. Thankfully, he can step on it and just pick it up and keep going.
Does he know this?
Yeah, that is the question here. It doesn't look like he does. Okay. At least he got the mist there. The other shield coming in pretty clutch there. Oh no, he threw it in the doorway.
That ended up working out okay, but it could have gone in other ways. Egg bombs can be a little bit tricksy at times.
Yeah, eggs and doorways do not always play nice. Kind of along the same lines as the Mahel egg bomb glitch that we saw yesterday. Sometimes they just refuse to work as intended, and I believe it has something to do with the fact that once the egg hits a target, it hatches into a random spot. And when you're in a doorway, you can't attack directly diagonally, and that's one of the places that the monster can spawn. So they'll try to attack essentially an empty space.
Doorways are dangerous ways.
Yeah, and doorways are dangerous in more than one way. Not only for that, but if they technically don't count as rooms. So if you get paralyzed or put to sleep in a doorway, your familiar will just sit there as, you know, the monster decides to wail on you.
Troy, in a bit of a pickle fighting this Mandara, there goes Kuhn, and now Troy has to get out of here, but will the confusion let him?
And unfortunately, he blocked himself off with that ice rock ball. He can't really continue going down that path anymore. He has to double back.
It wasn't quite a 1 in 8. Like, that is the odds of a confused attack doing the thing that anyone would intend it to do, but he was also there for several turns, with Kuhn there for several turns. So in the end, that 1 in 8 got a little bit bigger than that. Down to, like, statistically the same as a 1 in 4.
Troy's spending a pretty good bit of time on this floor. This is giving Plushie a little bit of time to catch up. She just got a sleep ball stolen from her. That's not
what she would want, I think.
Yeah, sleep balls are pretty nice. They're not the best, but they are a nice utility tool to have. And she got it back. Nice, very nice.
being able to identify which picket has stolen your stuff is a pretty handy skill. Troylus unfortunately spawns into range with that Mana Weaver. There might be another one in one of those items. It's not an ideal situation to be caught in. And the question of which way do you go, Troy, remains. I would have not gone into that, but his judgment was correct there. Actually was. It was not a Mana Weaver in disguise.
I think he was, he was either very brazen or he realized that he hasn't been on the floor very long, and when a Maneva does its transform, it kind of lags the screen for a little bit. It's still doing the animation even though you can't see it, and it kind of pauses the game for a second, and I didn't see the game pause. I think he could have been pretty confident that it wasn't a transform Maneva, though on these kind of floors, seeing any of the same type of item next to each other is sketchy at best.
Mm-hmm. One other way of finding out in a different sort of situation is to walk into the room and then walk out of the room. That wasn't available to this specific set of circumstances, but it is generally possible, and it looks like Troylus getting some elevator luck. DamagedPlushie finding that arachne egg. Doesn't still have those truth glasses, so we'll see what she does with it. But Troylus is in the 30s now. Still has some space in which to climb.
Honestly, I don't think, even if Plushie did identify the egg, I don't think she would hatch it at this point.
Yeah.
Knowing her mindset, I'm pretty sure that she feels like she's behind and wouldn't have time to hatch it anyway.
Yeah, I think so, and fighting with the arachne would slow her down more than the alternative.
Yeah, and with this, I don't want to say she's completely comfortable with the familiarless. Troy on floor 32. I think that she's kind of in a groove right now where
numbers are transposed. 32 and 23.
Oh, and 33 for Troy. Yeah, this is still possible for Plushie to win, but at the rate that Troy is going, he is very liable to hit 40 pretty quickly. He's got his inventory is still really strong.
It comes down to what those.
Oh no, Plushie! Oh, one hit point on Plushie. That was probably the worst thing that could have happened. She got hit with that low bind there.
Yeah, and any sort of getting a couple of levels, that'll help a little bit, but if a stealth is invisibly there, that could be the end of this climb.
What an awful room there.
That's a terrible room.
He doesn't really have a means to deal with it either. He can deal with I think he can blind this. Yeah. And that should make the
Plushie very gingerly making her way over there. And they're trying very carefully.
He can take a hit here. As long as it's not a crit, he should be able to survive. Okay, or...
Is he going for the pickup? Ooh, and there he's down! Oh no!
Oh man, that was like 2 over what he had. That was really unfortunate.
Very tragic. Jick, let's see if Plushie can make that up.
Yeah, she needs to get to floor 34 to win this this match.
It's not impossible. That's 9 floors, 8 floors really, to go.
She still has a good bit of time. She has about 16 and a half minutes left to do it. It's very possible. She has a pretty strong inventory as well.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Troylus did very well there, but that's probably the most that can be done there.
No, Shawnee, you got this all wrong. No matter what happens, it's always blame Sand Knight. Come on, man. You're one of the founding members of the Discord. You know this. You know the rules.
You know the rules, and so do I.
But yeah, as mentioned in chat, Troy did play incredibly well. It was just an unfortunate crit that brought him down. If that wouldn't have been a crit, he could have survived, and he had tools to deal with being able to survive that hit if the lift failed, like it did.
Just, but
Yeah,
a
and
crit
now he
just was that.
Yeah, now he just needs to hope that floor 33 can hold the lead until the hour time limit or until Plushie goes down. I don't
Yep.
think if Plushie goes down at this point, I don't think there's any coming back from that at this point.
No, absolutely none. So it's really a question of Plushie making it 6 floors in the next 15 minutes. That's either going to result in death or victory, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Skeef. Blame Sad Knight for my commentary curse. Now you got it.
Yeah, that checks out.
Anyway, Plushie doing okay. She actually took the same exact route that Troy did on this floor, walking away from that Minerva. Yeah, she handled the situation differently, but she ended up walking into that room with the snowman there as well. That Troy had that same situation, and she ended up finding
audio switch. That's a thing we can do.
Did we find out what that other egg was?
No, I don't believe we ever did. And maybe we will.
Plushie, I believe, still has the Arachne egg as well, which I'm pretty sure that Troy threw on that floor.
Yeah,
or maybe
I think
it was
so.
This floor. It was somewhere around these floors here that he chucked it. So she's looking pretty good. That Olim, the sleep ball, blinder ball. I'm not sure if the acid rain still has a charge, but she has a lot of really strong options here.
Yeah, that she does. This is a pretty good inventory. Like a nice fresh blaze ball right hot out of the oven. That's a weird thing to say. That wasn't good. Where do you think they make those? Well, I guess they're glass, right? So they must a glass blower?
Yeah, probably, and then enchanted by some kind of a mage like Selfie or whoever.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Her master is.
That actually sounds really cool once I picture the idea of magic glass blowing. Going to steal that for something. Steal it from myself, I guess, technically, because Azure Dreams, while it answers many meaningless world-building questions in its delightful little monster book, does not take a moment to think about where spell balls come from. The answer to most tower-based questions is a wizard did it. Which is admittedly a really good decision for this sort of game, where it's like, here is this weird, twisted space, which occupies a nonsensical space-time. Y'all can just chill with that. I probably would have gone for a pick up and throw there, but luckily it didn't end up being a problem, so that's fine.
I think in this, I'd probably go with the Holy Scroll here.
Mm-hmm.
And that should give her a free out to get out of this room.
Yeah, this is a nasty room, but Killer can apparently keep going.
He almost
keeping it
won
occupied, almost won. Managed to take down a Napless.
Oh, and this is the egg we didn't see, and it's a Viper.
Curious place for a Viper.
Yeah, and it's not a
Probably,
particularly good familiar, but it makes a great egg bomb. It's kind of similar to Kraken. They're really scary when you encounter them wild in the tower, but if you hatch one, they're pretty lackluster. But if you
it's the
throw
lack
them,
of it's the lack of innate spell. That's the thing. That is, I think, one of the main categorical things that determines the utility of any given familiar is its ability absolutely busted, or does it have a spell?
oh yeah, take the warp trap out of here. Perfect.
Oh, perfect! When you don't have Qn, warp traps can be your friend.
And that is floor 32? Yeah, floor
Yeah,
32.
Plushie is getting pretty close to it. Unfortunately, this would have been. Oh, Plushie still has that acid rain ball, has held on to it tight this whole time.
That's gonna
That's
be
a
a
lot
lot.
of.
Yeah, that's a lot of level ups.
Unfortunately, leaving that exit loop, didn't want to take the risk of waiting. It didn't want to take the time of waiting until the floor went down.
And 33, they are technically tied. I mean, Troylus could
Troylus
still
still
win.
has that lead,
Yeah,
but
they have reached the same floor at this point. All she needs to do is find an elevator, and she will take this match.
yeah, now
Like,
the question is getting out of this situation.
uh, Holy Scroll might be a good option here.
Yeah, probably.
I think she wanted to get the glacier kick, but with that floor elevation there, it wouldn't have helped very much.
Yeah, would not have gotten far enough. At the very least, the glacier is able to survive this fight, is going to go fight the other glacier, while Plushie goes and does something.
And it might actually win too.
Yeah, it
Okay,
the
now
other glacier was awake, was asleep the whole time, but unfortunately, that is its demise. There goes that arachne egg. Appears, deals damage, die.
and oh, that hurts. That
Ooh,
hurts.
that hurts. Thank goodness Plushie got all those levels. Well, has enough to take that, but not much else, and we're out of. Okay, we're almost out of real sure options. What Plushie does not know is that all Plushie has to do is get off of this floor.
Yeah, and I think she's feeling a little sketchy about trusting her sleep ball at this point. She's used it quite a bit, and not having that extra space of, or being able to take a hit if it fails. I think the Olean was
And
probably a
there
good option
is
there.
this room with the tyrant still patrolling.
It might be worth putting on the ice shield here and just taking a hit. I mean, she obviously doesn't know that. Like we've been saying, she doesn't know. She just needs to hit this elevator to win. But knowing what we know, off blinder is also a really good choice here as well.
Yeah, that's a good decision here. She will be able to get a decent amount out of that, and looks like she's going to make it.
Yeah, she can.
We will see a 2-0.
That'll give her the option to check these seeds as well, which could be Mazar. And that is game and match for Plushie 2-0.
Yeah, we could very well see her carry it on to the end. And I do think we have time for that. For that, we could see a friendly third. Maybe we could see a lot of things. Is what I'm saying.
We have two incredible climbs in both seeds from both runners. That was a fantastic race. Oh, and the Holy Bell find. She's using items pretty quickly, but she's also replenishing them fast enough that it's not overly detrimental. Oh, and the exit loop. Oh, 2 exit loops even. Oh, man. As long as she can avoid some nasty pincers here, she's pretty set.
Yeah. I've let them know the result. Here. Here, it will just come down to what they are thinking and how this is going. In a way, glaciers in a line is like not the worst situation to know where 2 glaciers are and one of them is behind the other. There's that elevator. 36.
I don't think we haven't seen a 40 yet, have we? This is only the first
No, we
week.
have not.
This is only
It would
the
be
3rd
pretty
match.
stunning.
Yeah, that would be
In
pretty
the
great.
3rd match. We've seen some high 30s before. We have not seen a full clear. Could this be it?
And it's still very possible she can do it in under the hour to get to 40. I think it's a little unreasonable to think that an actual any percent run with all of Beldo's boss fight and everything like that would still be sub-hour, but I think getting 240 is still pretty feasible at this point.
She taking the time to play the slots once again.
Yeah, and it's not a bad option. I think she has a pretty strong inventory for. I mean, I guess some of her balls are a little questionable as far as how many charges they still have left. But
Yeah. Oh, I bet Plushie wishes that was a white sand. That would have been ideal.
It is worthwhile to just run the barong out of MP just so you can carry it along and use it as a boomerang or block hallways off on its own. On top of whatever else it might spit out for you. And another exit loop. This is a really, really nice couple final floors as far as the loops go.
Plushie hoping to get that glacier away, throw it aside, get something. Unfortunately, rooms are not really a place where the boomerang strategy works. Plushie is gonna try for 40 before we get our interviews in. I'm excited to see if she can do it. There are a lot of glaciers wandering these halls today.
Yeah, and we will not be having a 3rd match today, so we can let her go overtime a little bit to get to 40. That's a height thing to do, and we can get them in here for an interview.
Yeah, this is so close and very exciting to see.
Yeah, and she's still at it's not like she even has to be overly cautious. She has full HP, so she can take a hit from anything here.
Some things here, anyway. And she has a fair bit of HP, so I would say, yeah, she can take a hit from something.
Yeah, and she can even take, a couple ice kicks, or... I mean, that's not the ice kick that you would want to take, but...
No, but
now she
needs
to be really careful here. I believe that glacier can still kick ice into the room.
Yeah, that's a thing to be careful about. I'd grab the loop, or at least check it out, while she's safe.
Ooh, 38, and still looking alright for getting to 40 within the hour.
There is Now she's probably thinking, I wish I had not used that holy bell.
Yeah, it's always a kind of a questionable thing. It's very rare that it's not a questionable use of a holy bell, because a lot of times you want to save it for when you first
Something
go up.
like that.
Yeah, because you never know what you're gonna spawn into. That was a little dangerous walking
that
back
was
in
a
that room.
risky business. Looks like the maximum fought the other maximum. Or something like that.
In a trap loop, that could be so good. If there's a go up right next to her spawn or something, that could be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, who needs a
There's
go up
the
trap?
elevator.
That is a floor 40, everyone.
GG,
GG's.
and within the hour. Where that is an absolutely stunning round of play.
Very nice. And the invites have been sent. They should be in here momentarily.
Yep, we have our winner.
They are Sand Knight, believe it or not. They actually are. I mean, Plushie's been in the Discord for a while, but she's not
and
been an
participated
active
in the
runner.
last tournament, did really well, but this is while not a valid, or I guess technically, while not a valid any percent run, this is the first time that DamagedPlushie has reached 40 in less than an hour.
Yeah, and that is the kind of the cutoff point here. Only runners that haven't beaten a sub 1 hour any percent time are able to qualify for this. And yeah, Troy is also a fairly new member. I think he's been with the community for a few months, I want to say. And he's improved a tremendous amount.
That was a fantastic run.
Yeah, that was a great showing from both of them. What a fantastic race. And it looks like they are in setup. I will go grab them quickly.
Hello.
So, leading into the interviews, do any of you guys have any particular questions or highlights? Hello. Thought I heard someone speak, but I guess not.
I hear you.
Yeah, I was definitely hearing someone speak. That was a little
cool.
odd.
I just realized I had my volume really, really low.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Plushie, Troy, congratulations. That was a very, very good race.
GG, that was
40.
astonishing.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, that was quite a showing. You should both be very pleased with that. Troy had a little bit of unfortunate luck in that last seed. An unfortunate crit when he went for the lift that took him down. But very strong inventory.
About a 9-floor lead.
Yeah.
Damn, nice.
The first two seeds, you guys were pretty even up until Troy took an early crystal out in the first seed, but he caught up to you so quick, Plushie. And,
he's way faster than me.
Yeah, and then this third seed, he had like Deme said, like a 9-floor lead. I think it was actually up to 11 at one point, and then he just had that unfortunate crit. And you caught him, and you actually got to 40 in under the hour. Congratulations!
Nice, that's super impressive. Good job.
Thank you.
But do you guys have any thoughts or anything you'd like to say before we get any questions going?
I'm a little bit annoyed at myself for the ice ball whilst holding Qune, because I made the same mistake in practice. That was a bit. I don't think it mattered too much because I think I was still almost definitely dead. But yeah, that was just a bit of a wish I hadn't done that type thing.
Oh, I burned my Qune in practice. It wasn't even ice ball. It was.
That has happened.
Oh,
This time the Why No Ice Shield spell was broken. It was equipped at certain points. And at good points, I would say.
Sand Knight wants to know, are you guys really both starting Tamers?
Yee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the time on the leaderboard currently. It is a goal to have one on the leaderboard by the end of this year.
I think that is a goal you will definitely achieve. Because certainly that run, for example, nearly could have made it to 40.
I gotta
Yeah,
work on
I
my
think-
inputs.
Yeah, I mean, I have played this game for like hundreds and hundreds of hours, and yeah, I think I definitely did do a lot of like speedrun practice when I picked the game up, like for speedrunning last year. Yeah, I would still call myself technically a starting tamer because I'm still making some like input mistakes and like other sort of errors, but yeah, that's what I would say.
I can attest that will never go away.
Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of nice that Azure Dreams is relatively forgiving about that sort of errors. I mean, sometimes it can be the most unforgiving. But oftentimes, it's relatively forgiving, and I am very grateful for that.
It's really unfortunate. Like when I saw that you had to win Crystal, I was like, "Oh, that's why I was able to get where I was." Because I hit like an elevator train, and the items were extremely generous. I was like, "How the heck hasn't he like floored my butt at this point?"
I
I'm
think
like, "I'm just gonna throw items, run, go. At least have fun."
yeah, I thought about it. I was like, I'd lost Kuhn at that point.
Oh,
I
I
figured it
haven't
would
played
cost
with
me.
Hugh this round. I tried to save him. He's not savable.
No, it dies so often. It's like it wants to perish. But yeah, I think I'd lost Kuhn at that point. I was using so many items. I think there was like a few monsters ahead of me, and I was like, I would have to use so much more resources to do this. I looked at the time, and I was like, I can probably get a higher than, I think 13 is what I got to within like 20 minutes. So I was like, I can get higher than that on a re-entry. So yeah, just decided to rip it, and I think I was higher. I can't remember what this pay was, but it was kind of nuts.
Like with your pace, I think it was a pretty easy bet. Just unfortunate. But the second round was really funny. Like between Barong and the tower, I had like all of the star glasses and exit loops.
Yeah, that
I
was
might as well have had a
insane.
U-boat.
You
It was
had at one point
hilarious.
you had like 3 or 4 star glasses.
I could
And
hear in my
then-
head, why isn't she using these?
Yeah, and then you found 2 exit loops right next to an elevator, and then you found another one right away. It was ridiculous how many loops and star glasses that you had.
It was super funny. And I don't know if I've had a magic ball in like the last few trainings I did, and there were so many in these seeds. I was like, I have resources, it's beautiful. But then he has resources and he can use them better.
I am curious, Troy. In the third seed, you identified an arachne egg.
Yeah.
Were you tempted to hatch it at all when your Kuhn died, or were you?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know when he died. No, I think because what floor did he die on? I can't remember.
It was pretty late. You weren't with him for or without him for too long, but that egg was also only at like 22%.
Yeah, I figured if I was going to hatch it, it was going to be a bit of a risk to do that, and at the level it would hatch, it just potentially wouldn't be that impactful. I think I'd forgotten that when you hatch an arachne egg, it comes out at the attack it should have. I think because that's right, isn't it? Like it does come out without the debuff.
I believe so, yeah. And then as it
Yeah.
levels up,
Oh.
it gets the
And-
1 point instead of 2. that you have
Yeah,
to
I think
deal.
in the actual heat at the moment, I was like, it's not going to be helpful, and I thought it would have the debuff. But thinking about it now, out of the actual like match, yeah, it probably would have made sense to hatch it. To be fair, but yeah, I figured. Go on.
I'm not claiming it was the right or the wrong choice.
No.
I just want to get into your mindset a little bit. I mean,
Sure.
it could have it obviously served you very well as a bomb. I got you out of that situation. But it also would have been pretty time consuming to hatch it, and then you have to deal with the AI one, and having that attack power kind of makes you want to fight things instead of letting them walk by or using a resource that might be faster. So in the grand scheme of things, I think either or is the right choice. It's just kind of
Which choice works out today?
yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Plush level 10 on both runs. I actually tried. I got quite unlucky with a U-boat. I was like, I will take a hit for this Q, and I will show that I can run with Q. There's another U-boat right in front of the elevator, and he's dead. Bye, Q.
Yeah,
that was a rough spot. Yeah.
It's like,
You did really
Q,
well
I could not
running
hit
with.
it.
You did really well running without him, though, and I do want to say that I did really like the sword chucking that you guys did early in the tower. That's not something that we've really seen a lot of until now, but that is a really, really nice thing to do in the early game. Even up until like floor 10 or so, when things they're still pretty useful. And if they're just taking up inventory, it's not like you're gonna sell them or ever use them, especially if you have that stream or scarlet wand. So why not make use of them?
Mm-hmm. I was so excited I had that scarlet one. I was like, I'm gonna actually queue now.
Yeah. Just having wands across like each entry was actually pretty good. Like it definitely kind of eased a lot of my nerves going in. Like having a wand so early on for like each one. But yeah, I mean I've been watching a lot of like Wooger's any percent runs and like him using the copper sword to kill a troll to gain level 2. Like in my mind for those early levels I'm thinking, right, pick up any weapon or shield and use it to make sure you don't take a hit, or even just like one bank something could be the difference between taking damage or not.
One thing I did learn is don't throw a troll weapon at a troll.
Just equips it, right?
Yes.
Well, that can be handy in its own circumstances. I especially like it against both, for example, because I like not getting sniped.
Oh, I like the damage earlier. Or I'm gonna feed it to Barong Boy.
Alright, so if you guys have any final... Yeah, unless you guys have any final statements, I think that's gonna be it for us.
And then there will be another Azure Dreams race.
Yeah, I believe that is at 6 p.m. There'll be another match. That'll be Razor versus Chimera, I believe.
Awesome. Troy, thank you for the matches. I'm sure you're gonna whip my butt next time.
I mean,
Be
I hope
gentle.
so.
I'm gonna try to get better though.
But no, it's I think it's really. I'm just really impressed. I'm just really impressed by like the way that you've played, and looking forward to like watching the VOD back and taking some bits away from it. And again, thank you to commentators and coaches for putting in the time. It's really appreciated.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you to both of you giving us an excellent race, and thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting us.
Thank you. Join the Discord.
Yes, join the Discord, follow the runners. There's all the good stuff.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.